8 games. 8 times the Indiana Fever have printed the same 2 words next to the most famous athlete in the sport. Probable, back. And 8 times Caitlin Clark has walked out and played. The most watched player in women's basketball has a back that, in her own words, gets out of line pretty quickly. And her own front office keeps telling you there's nothing to see. Tonight they do it again. So, watch what this front office does, not what it says. Because the woman whose name is on that front office, Kelly Krauskopf, the Fever's president of basketball operations, let her building tell you a month ago that Caitlin Clark was healthy. Then the league had to step in. Here's where it gets uncomfortable for the people who run this team. Go back to May 20th, a Wednesday night, Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the Fever hosting Portland. That morning, the team's injury report said one thing: nothing. No Clark, no back, no flag of any kind. And then, roughly 100 minutes before tip-off, Caitlin Clark was ruled out. Not questionable, not a game-time call, out. The number one reason the WNBA exists in the conversation it's in right now, scratched, with almost no warning, in a building she sells out. And the first official word that anything was wrong with her back came less than 2 hours before the ball went up. Think about what she means to this team. Clark is the engine. Everyone knows that. She's the reason the road arenas moved to NBA buildings, the reason the broadcast windows exist. But the bigger the asset, the more careful the people protecting it are supposed to be. And on May 20th, the protection looked like silence. That's the part the front office would like you to file away. Don't. The WNBA noticed. The league confirmed to ESPN that it warned the Indiana Fever, a formal warning, for leaving Clark off that report. Now here's the rule, and it's not complicated. Every team in the league has to report injuries, illnesses, and a player's status by 5 o'clock the day before the game. Not a suggestion, a requirement. It exists so fans, broadcast partners, and yes, the people with money on the line aren't lied to by omission. The Fever didn't meet it on the single most scrutinized player in the sport. And the league, the same league that's been accused of 100 things this season, was the one that had to say, out loud, "You can't do that with her." And the league didn't stop at a warning. Within days, the WNBA alerted teams to a tightened game status reporting system. Status updates required every 15 minutes on game days. Read that again. The league rewrote how often every franchise has to tell the truth about its players. In the same window, the Fever got caught not doing it. When the rule makers tighten the rule right after your mistake, that's not a coincidence. That's a response. Sit with how backwards the whole thing is. The institution had to protect the transparency that the franchise wouldn't. There's one more piece, and it's the piece that changes how you read every report since. After that Portland game, reporters did their jobs. James Boyd of The Athletic asked head coach Stephanie White the obvious question. Why wasn't Clark on the report if she didn't even practice the day before? White's answer: not everybody that doesn't practice or gets a pro day is on the injury report. That happens all the time, and she wasn't listed on the injury report earlier because we expected her to play. Then Boyd pressed, "Is she injured?" And here's the sentence. White said, "Her back is sore. If there's anything more detailed than that, that's the training staff." Read it twice. The head coach of the Indiana Fever, asked directly whether her franchise player is hurt, points at the training staff. The same week, she also said, and I'm quoting, "She's healthy. We're not managing anything." And then, "I'm not a doctor, so I don't know." So which is it? She's healthy, but it's a back issue. We're not managing anything, but she sat. Ask for detail and the door closes. That's the training staff. When the answer to, "Is your star hurt?" is a redirect to the medical room, the team has stopped reporting and started managing the message. Now, it's easy to make Stephanie White the whole story. Half the channels covering this team already have. But White is the one standing at the podium. She's not the one who built the system she's defending. The person whose name belongs on this is Kelly Krauskopf. Krauskopf is the president of basketball and business operations for the Indiana Fever. Not the GM, the president. The org chart runs through her. Amber Cox handles the day-to-day, but the way this franchise communicates about its single most valuable human being, the policy, the posture, the wall, that's a front office decision, and the front office is hers. And the posture she's chosen is this: list Clark probable, with a sore back, every single game, and let the head coach absorb the questions at the podium. It's a designation that protects the team from another league warning. It tells you almost nothing about whether the player is actually okay. Watch what they do, not what they say. They say probable. They mean don't ask. Let's count it, because the pattern is the story. After the warning, Clark goes back on the report. Probable back, Golden State. Probable back, down the schedule. June 11th against Chicago. Probable back. June 13th in Connecticut. Probable back. Tonight against Toronto. Probable back. Raven Johnson questionable with an ankle right next to her. Every time cleared. Every time she plays. She's missed exactly one game. And it wasn't only Clark that week. Aaliyah Boston, the All-Star center, the #1 overall pick, had missed the Sunday game before with a lower leg issue and spent the next 48 hours as a question mark of her own. A franchise carrying two of the best young players in the league. And in the same week, the building couldn't give a straight answer on either one. One off the report entirely. One on, then off, then back. Now, on its face, a healthy player playing is good news. But here's the part people miss. A label you slap on every game, regardless of how the player actually feels, isn't information. It's insulation. If Clark is probable, whether she's at 100% or 70%, then the word has stopped meaning anything. It's not a status anymore. It's a shield. And the thing it shields is the one question this fan base actually wants answered. How is her back, really? Because we've seen what the alternative costs. Here's where it gets dangerous. This isn't a fan base that panics over nothing. It's a fan base that watched last season happen. Caitlin Clark played 13 games in 2025. 13. A quad that cost her 3 weeks. A groin that cost her 2 more, then came back and cost her the rest of the year. She went from a player who had never missed a game in her life, high school, 4 years at Iowa, her rookie year, to a player who spent the back half of a season in street clothes. So when the same franchise that lived through that says her back is sore, that's the training staff, and then lists her probable 8 straight times while telling you not to worry, the people who love this team don't hear reassurance. They hear the opening notes of a song they've heard before, and the front office knows that, which is exactly why the wall is the strategy. A scared fan base asks hard questions. A managed fan base just buys the ticket. And here's the part that should stop every long-time Fever fan cold, because this team has done a version of this before. Go back to 2015. The Indiana Fever and a legend named Tamika Catchings. Late in her career, the franchise managed her carefully. A minutes cap, a reduced playoff load, and a public framing built around. And I quote the language of the era, a nagging back injury. The team protected the legend. It controlled the story. It decided how much you got to know. Here's the detail that makes your skin prickle. The Fever's first-year head coach in 2015 was Stephanie White, and before that, White was Catchings' teammate, 2001 to 2004. The person now standing at the podium saying that's the training staff is the same person who learned a decade ago exactly how this franchise manages the truth about a star's back. Same building, same body part, same 2 words, back injury. The only thing that's changed is the name on the jersey. And last time, the fans found out how the story ended only after it was over. So that brings us to tonight. The Fever host the Toronto Tempo at Gainbridge. First time these two have ever met. A Commissioner's Cup night. A 3-game win streak on the line. And on the report, one more time, Caitlin Clark, probable back. She'll almost certainly play. She'll probably score 20-something, drop a handful of assists, and the building will roar. And by 11 o'clock tonight, half the internet will say the whole thing was overblown. But that's the trap. Whether she plays tonight was never the question. The question is whether you can trust a single word this front office tells you about her body between now and Thursday, when Atlanta comes to town, and between now and September when the games actually decide something. Because a probable that's true every night is the same as a probable that's false every night. You can't tell them apart. That's the point. Kelly Krauskopf built a wall that the WNBA already had to knock on once. Caitlin Clark is standing behind it, telling you herself that her back gets out of line pretty quickly. So here's the question I'd put to the people who run the Indiana Fever. The night her back finally doesn't bounce back, and last season says that night is on the table, are the fans going to find out before tip-off? Or 100 minutes after the report said everything was fine? Tell me what you think in the comments, because the league already told them once.